president of United Walnut Taxpayers, and I want to thank you all for coming and making the effort to play a role in who's going to be running our city. I want to thank you residents and the candidates all for cooperating with us and coming promptly. Of course, the Chinese American Association of Walnut for coordinating this event with us. Thank you all very much. United Walnut Taxpayers was formed about a year and a half ago, and the purpose was to maintain or keep the quality of life in Walnut and to make sure that those laws that are on the books that are there to protect the taxpayers and residents are in fact applied and honored. And when we started this whole thing, it's a bunch of Walnut residents that got together and decided to do this. We quickly realized that really what we needed to do is get the community informed, because we found a big gap in the information that we were finding out and what actually the community did know. Unfortunately, the community basically wasn't aware of much that was happening in Walnut. So we decided that our mission was to inform and engage the community. In the course of doing that, we found that when you do get involved and you do show up at the city council meetings and you do have an opinion and a studied, scientific, researched opinion of what you want to do or where you want the city to go, that people do begin to listen. So that is our mission, to get us, the residents of Walnut, informed and engaged. And hence this candidates forum here, which we felt is very appropriate. The coming elections are going to have 3 of the candidates up here who are going to be our new city council members. And this is a great opportunity for you to get to know them and ask them the important questions on the issues that concern you most in Walnut. And please feel free to ask any question you want. Of course, there are index cards going around and a blank sheet of paper for those of you who want to ask questions. We're going to collect them and give them to our moderator. And they will our moderator will sort it out for any duplications, and so we could effectively answer as many questions as we can in the short period that we have. Just another quick note, if you want to stay engaged in what's happening in Walnut, please look up nextdoor.com. It's a community website or forum where you go in and put in your address here in Walnut, and you will have access to the information that we put on there. We update nextdoor.com with what's happening, and you have the ability to go in and put your updates and your opinions and what's happening and your questions. So please go on nextdoor.com and sign up for that. And if you are not a registered voter, we do have blank voter registration applications outside on the table outside. Feel free to help yourself. We have in English and in Chinese. You could also register online, I'm told, and electronic signature would work nowadays, so you could do it either way. But please exercise your vote. That's how we make a difference, and we really want to make a difference this year. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our distinguished moderator. We were very lucky to have George Lewis here today with us. George was a correspondent for 42 years with NBC News. He retired from the network in 2012, and he's now working on book projects and a blog. He's a winner of 3 Emmys, the George Foster Peabody and the Edward R. Murrow Awards, and he's no stranger to world crisis. Vietnam was his first assignment for NBC News starting in August 1970, and George remained there until May of 1972, returning to Vietnam in 1975 to cover the fall of Saigon. In 1979, George was in Tehran to cover the hostage crisis at the U.S. Embassy, and he remained in Iran for 66 days until the government expelled foreign journalists. In 1989, George was present in China for the revolt in Tiananmen Square and the revolution in Romania. And during his career with NBC News, he has covered wars, revolutions in the Middle East, Latin America, and Asia. He was part of the NBC team that covered Operation Desert Storm, and George was also present in Lebanon for the 1982 Israeli invasion. In the latter part of his NBC News career, George reported on stories from his base in Los Angeles, and his major domestic assignments have included covering earthquakes in California, the O.J. Simpson criminal and civil trial, and the Los Angeles Olympics. A reoccurring assignment for George was the technology revolution, starting with the dawn of the internet age in the 1990s. And in a series of reports called Almost 2001, George and his NBC News colleagues were among the first broadcasters to allow viewers to interact via email. I just want to tell you an interesting bit of information of how I got to know George. In 1996, my son, who was going to Walnut High School at that time, made himself visible when George and Cecilia, the producer from NBC Nightly News, was there covering a story on diversity in Walnut. This was in 1996. Diversity in Walnut was already in the news. They asked if he could get a group of his friends over at our place so they could interview them. And sure enough, they came over and they interviewed the kids from Walnut, and they interviewed me, and we had our moment of fame on the nightly news. That was in 1996. And we've stayed in touch with Cecilia and George since then. A very interesting, warm couple that you'd love to hang around as much as you can. And I really appreciate the fact that they drove all the way from Santa Monica today. It took them 2 hours to get here to help us moderate this forum. So thank you very much, George.
Well, before we get started, I want to just run down the rules and regulations here. There will be a 2-minute opening statement allowed to each candidate. The order of the candidates was by a blind draw, and that was conducted prior to the start of the event. We have a timekeeper, Robert, standing in the back of the hall. He has a yellow card that he'll put up when you're a minute and a half into your 2-minute statement, and then a red card that he'll put up when you've run to the 2-minute mark. If you keep talking, I'm going to say time. And if you keep talking after that, you know how on the Oscars they play people off with the orchestra when the acceptance speeches run too long? I'm going to play you off with the chicken dance. Don't make me play the chicken dance. Okay. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to questions from the moderator. The order of the candidate's response will rotate with each question. Only questions written on these blank index cards provided and collected by the monitors will be answered. If you still have a burning question, I think the monitors are still collecting cards, so keep them coming, and I will sort through them as the candidates are going through their opening statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for a closing statement. We'll go in reverse order with the closing statements, so the candidate who had the first opening statement will be sixth in order, and vice versa. You'll be free to mingle with the residents after the event outside the main hall. Respectfully refrain from excessive exuberance for or against a particular candidate. So kind of cool it, folks. I saw a YouTube video of a city council meeting here last year that looked kind of like the Jerry Springer show. So I would ask for decorum here. And we need to leave the center no later than 10 p.m. Good luck. So, for opening statements, the winner of the draw, number 1, Nancy Tregars. You're on.
Good evening. I'm Nancy Rennie Tregars. In 1972, my family moved here to Walnut, and I've grown up here. I went to Collegewood, Suzanne, and graduated from Walnut High with highest honors. Went on to USC, graduated magna cum laude with a degree in business administration. And I married my high school sweetheart, Ken, who's in the back there. And last year we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, and we have 2 sons that are away at college right now. We purchased our first house here in Walnut shortly after we got married there. And I was working at Unisys at the time, and then went on to work at Security Pacific National Bank, doing finance and accounting. Then I went back to law school. It always been a dream of mine to go to law school, went to Loyola Law School. And while there, I did a full-time in-church for Judge Lewin Federal Court, and I also was a certified law clerk for the LA County District Attorney's Office, which was a great experience, and I got to try cases. From there, I went to work at a firm in Santa Ana my last semester, and I do business litigation and trust and estate planning as well as corporate work, and I'm still there at that firm now, today. So I've been a licensed attorney since 1990, and I've tried over 30 cases, and I think that that's been a real asset to the help on the community here and on the city council. I'm currently in my 18th year teaching Sunday school with my husband at Diamond Canyon Christian Church. We teach preschoolers, and I've also been a volunteer church treasurer there, as well as involved in the outreach to visitors there. Very active here, been a scout leader for 14 years, community club president at at Collegewood, and treasurer, and at Suzanne, and secretary treasurer. Been involved in soccer as team mom, baseball team mom, coordinating council president for 2 years, vice president before that. Very active in schools as room mom. So I've been on the Historical Society here in Walnut, put together the first historical book, as well as I've been a block captain for many years. And I've also been a volunteer temporary judge in the LA County Courts for the last 18 years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Nancy. Next up, Dino Palalis.
Thank you, friends and neighbors, for your attendance. My name is Dino Jimmy Palalis. 大家好，我是 Dino Jimmy Palalis. I was born and raised in Santa Barbara, but my first language is Greek. In the 90s, when I was working at Texas Instruments and living in Newport Beach, I met my wife, Kim. She told me she lived in Walnut. I said, where's Walnut? Well, I found out about Walnut. It's a beautiful place, and I fell in love with Walnut. It's truly unique, with its horse trails and open spaces, friendly people. We decided to make our life here and build our home rather than in Newport Beach. As our children grew, we became more involved with their activities and sports, such as AYSO, and with their schools, like Oswald, Suzanne, and Walnut High. Our love and appreciation of the city and its people grew tremendously. We made friends through schools and city activities while volunteering and cheering for our kids on the sidelines for our kids. We all shared the same passion for raising our kids in a safe environment so they can reach their full potential. I want to make sure our children have the same, if not better, opportunities in this community to raise their children. This is why I want to run for city council. I have a passion and experience and determination to preserve and enhance Walnut, working with my friends and neighbors to ensure that our children will have an exceptional place to build their family and raise the future generations. Let me close with a Chinese proverb as it was translated by a neighbor. It says, better self, better family, better country, peace to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dino. Betty Chang is number 3.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to thanks to the CAW and the UWT to host this event. We really appreciate it. I'm Betty Tang. I'm living in Walnut 23 years. This is my 17 years to serve this community. The reason I'm running for Walnut City Council because I think we need independent voice to protect our residents. Walnut is a good place to live, but we still have such things needed to improve to our city. We have traffic issue to deal with. We have development decision to make. Also, we have to facing in near future the crime rate, the raising problem, because our state inmate early release program. We don't need city council distracted by personality conflict and the internal power struggles. I'm not running with anyone else. I'm not taking sides. I want to be independent voice to the City Council. I want to focus on solving problem. I have been doing volunteer in City of Walnut 17 years. I can make things happen as volunteer in 17 years. Also, I can do same thing as the City Council member. I have been running very successful business over 20 years. I have learned a great deal about managing people, saving money, and making critical decisions. I create a charitable foundation and a non-profit organization help many parents and young people. I want to bring new attitude of cooperation and achievement to our City Council. Thank you.
Okay. Member King is next.
Thank you for being here. As you can see, I didn't prepare a speech. I talk to you from bottom of my heart. This morning I woke up